Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. So thank you for the video.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Very good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mugdha. So it's past 10. Should we wait for a couple of more minutes or should we start? We're kind of 14 of us.
Ma'am, a couple of minutes, I guess.
Okay.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Raj.
Good morning. Raj, you are from which location?
I'm from Karnataka, Bangalore. I'm in Bangalore. Yeah.
And how do I pronounce your name? Raj.
No, it is Viraj. Actually, I've just removed the I.
Okay, all
It is
right.
Viraj.
So that's what, numerology or what is it?
No, just like that.
Just like that. Oh,
Just
that's
like that
nice.
removed.
Okay, nothing extra required.
Nothing extra required.
Yeah.
So other day, this our Kaushal was telling you can give a very good explanation, saying that you have removed I. I means ego from your name and from yourself.
Yes. That's a wonderful explanation. Sanjana, where are you from? Location? I think freeze हो गए here. So maybe she's got disconnected.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Kathy. Thank you for putting your video on. I would request a few more. Amit,
Good
thank
morning,
you.
ma'am.
A few more videos would be really appreciated. Thank you, Sanjay. Yeah, Sunanda, thank you so much. So it's, I think, 10:05. Should we start?
Yes, I think we can
Yes,
start.
please. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let me just share my screen. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So today is class number 2, and we are going to still continue with module 1. So as per the syllabus, we are still at module 1 and we are still continuing with verbal communication skills. Today, we look at two different areas of communications, verbal communication, and that is active listening skills and a small portion, capsule size, on communication styles. Now, listening, is what they say is the mother of all soft skills. Now, one of the most important skills that we can have is active listening skills. And in fact, that's the reason why it is put in as a separate class altogether. Okay. So even, if you look at the amount of time that is spent in communication, if you look at the percentage wise, we spend almost 45% of the time in listening. So out of the whole communication time, 45% is spent in listening. And yet, number one complaint that everybody has is nobody listens to me. It's a constant complaint. You'll hear it everywhere. You'll hear it at home when the parents say the kids don't listen to me. The kids have the same complaint about the parents. At office, the boss will say my subordinates don't listen to me. The subordinates say the same thing about boss. Clients also say that service provider doesn't listen. Service providers are having the same complaints about the client. So I'm wondering, when we spend 45% of the time in listening, who actually does the listening? Or is there a difference between listening, active listening, where people feel that they have been heard, and then hearing? So at home also we keep feeling, that, okay, I've done my job, I'm listening, I know what I'm saying, but the other person doesn't feel heard. So that's why, we are spending a little time on listening. However, now this is the class, this is part of your diploma program in, training and development. So as trainers, focus is usually on speaking, articulation, how you use your voice, modulation, content. So listening क्यों कर रहे हैं? How does it matter for a trainer? Is it important for a trainer?
Yes, very much.
Okay. Examples, please, or a reason why?
So, from the point of view of a trainer, in order to understand so let me put it like this. When we start any training program, we set the expectations from the audience, even though we do our TNA and we make our content and everything, but generally we don't coordinate with the real participants when we're doing the TNA or we are actually working on the content. So to ensure that even before we start the actual training or the implementation of the training, in order to ensure that the both are in line, we set expectations. So during the expectations, if we are not actively listening, then that can create a challenge later on because they are like, why are you asking me expectations if the training doesn't align to that? Also, if we actively listen to the expectations, we can use those expectations as examples throughout the duration of the training to ensure that okay, this is what you talked about and this is what we are providing. So I hope that maps your expectations.
Perfect. So for expectation alignment, we have to listen properly. When they have questions in the class, we have to listen properly. If they don't agree with us, we still need to listen properly so that we'll be able to actually convince them our point of view. So all in all, listening is very, very important. And let's look at how we should listen actively. Now I'm moving just from hearing to listening to active listening. So you understand there's a difference, right? Hearing is words falling on your ears, probably in here, out there. But active listening is a little bit more. So what is this active listening is what we'll do, but we'll have some small exercise out here. Okay, I'm sure you must have played this exercise also. Chinese whispers.
Yes, yes.
Heard of
Yes,
Chinese
yes.
whispers? Perfect.
Yes,
So we are going
yes.
to just do a little
Yes, ma'am.
a different version or a little simpler version of this Chinese whispers. And it's going to be a challenge to do it online, but we'll still try. So I need 3 volunteers. Okay, so I have Sanjana is
Sanjay?
one. Sorry, who was that? Sanjay?
Yes.
Okay, so I have Sanjay, Sanjana, and I need one more. I've got some messages on the chat, I think. Okay, Smita. All right.
All three start from S.
Sorry, what was that?
Sanjay, Smita, and Sanjay. All three start with S.
I know. They're the volunteers. I didn't even pick them up. Okay. So what we are going to do is, Sanjana and Sanjay, I'm going to put you in 2 different breakout rooms for a short while. and I'm going to narrate an incident to this session out here, the main session. All right. The exercise is for Smita.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So Smita, after you listen, I'm going to narrate this incident. You got to listen to it carefully. It's an exercise in active listening. After you've heard everything, we will invite Sanjay inside the main room. Then you have to repeat the incident to Sanjay. Then we'll invite Sanjana back in the main room. And Sanjay, you have to repeat it to Sanjana. Sanjana, you tell us back the whole class. You tell us back. All this is to be done loudly. So although we have three volunteers,
Again, is speaking continuously. It is creating a
Device
problem.
problem somewhere.
all right. I would request all those who are not talking to please keep it on mute. All right. So, although we have three volunteers and this exercise is going to be done by these three volunteers, actually test of listening is of others. Because after Sanjana tells us, repeats the incident, the people who are in the main room are going to tell me what was added, what was deleted, or what went perfectly. Okay, so volunteers are there, but test of listening is for all the others. So Sanjana and Sanjay, I'm going to put you in two breakout rooms. Maybe it will take about 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes. You'll have to just bear with me till then. Okay? So you'll get a message, you will have to join. Okay. All right. So Smita, are you ready? Okay. Others, please remember, test is yours. So this is, rather than, just saying it, because it's an incident, I'll just read it out for you. All right. So it was a busy day and traffic was heavy on MG Road, also known as Main Street. The pedestrians were finding it hard to cross the road. One young lady, who could have been there to make a purchase, got impatient. She started walking and was hit by a vehicle. Probably the driver did not see her. The impact caused her to fall down. After falling down, she lay absolutely still. Many onlookers feared the worst. As a result of the impact, her clothes were in a disarray and more of her was visible than she intended. The heavy makeup and her attire suggested that she was not from a respectable background, perhaps of poor morals, which is why, leave alone help her, nobody wanted to touch her. Is that all right? Okay. So Smita, I will invite one of the I'll invite Sanjay inside. You will have to unmute when he comes in and narrate the whole story to him. Okay? Oh. So I think we cannot close one room together. I have to close all the rooms and again I'll put Sanjana in the breakout room.
Ma'am, they could have probably been in one room because there is no communication there.
Okay,
Length.
Sanjay is back. Sanjana, unfortunately, I had to shut down all the breakout rooms because I don't know, there is no facility to only close one breakout room. So again, I'm putting you in a breakout room. You'll be invited in again.
Okay.
Yeah. The narration was about an incident.
1 minute,
Still
one
here.
minute, 1 minute.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Oh, sorry. You're still there. Okay.
Oh, just 1 second.
Ma'am, you give me a thumbs up once she
Yeah,
gets
I'll do
inside
that.
because I might not be able to.
Yeah. Smita, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Sanjay, ready, right?
Yes, ready.
Yeah. The incident was about a lady meeting an accident. So the incident was narrated that it was a busy day on the MG road, which is also been mentioned as Main Street. Okay, so there was a lady who was been there for shopping, and it was due to the heavy traffic. She was hustled up, or she was very impatient, and due to that impatience, or maybe due to the driver's negligence of looking at her, well, she was hit by the car, and she fell down. The situation at that time was her clothes were disarrayed, and because of whatever she was, the appearance or the makeup or whatever, gave an background of the lady telling that she was not from a very good class of society or something, and the people around her could not help because of this impression, and she was left alone. To summarize the event.
Okay, wonderful. All right,
So,
Sanjay, ready? Should I invite Sanjana back?
yes, sure.
Okay. Sanjana,
Yes.
are you ready? Sanjay is going to narrate the incident to you. Go ahead, Sanjay.
So, Sanjana, the story is about a lady who had an accident outside a mall at MG Road. And this accident may have happened just because of the negligence of the driver or because her carelessness. So, when she met this accident, so her clothes got dirty and it
Pardon?
gave
Can
her.
you be a little louder?
Okay, sorry. Can't you hear me? Okay. Did you hear till that she met an accident? Okay. So because of that accident, her clothes got dirty and she had an appearance of somebody like from who did not belong to that society where she was standing. Means she
You'll
did not
have to
belong.
repeat. Sanjay, just a minute. Shri, I heard till shoes got dirty.
Yeah, her clothes got dirty because of the accident.
Okay.
Okay, because she rolled down on the road, maybe whatever. Her clothes got dirty and it gave her an appearance of that she did not belong to that place. Means she was some kind of beggar or whatever you may say, and nobody came to help her, and she was left alone.
Okay.
This was the whole narration, as I understood it.
Huh?
Okay.
So now
Okay.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Sanjay. Wonderful. Sanjana, you got to tell us what happened.
All right. So the story is about Delhi, who met with an accident outside a mall. The accident majorly happened because of a driver, and because of the accident, her clothes got dirty. But she was on road, and no one came to her help. Even the beggars did not came to her help, and she was new to that place, and nobody came to her.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. Oh, so you get others now. It's your test of listening. Tell me what was added.
All are smiling.
No, it was a good attempt. It was a very good attempt. All three
Yes.
of you did well.
No, and even though we might come up with, ye reh gaya, ye add ho gaya, it's still a great job, and this is very, very natural. We just kind of figure out how to take care of it. That's active listening. But like Jigar said, yes, lot of things are in place. But okay, what was missed?
Ma'am, before anybody says anything, I want to say something. This is Kaushal.
Yes, Kaushal.
I must congratulate you for successfully, uh, conducting this activity online, because I was really skeptical about this activity being conducted online. This is the first time ever I have experienced Chinese whisper activity over an online session. This was beautiful, and the result came out very well. I
Yeah.
mean, it is a successful activity.
Yes.
I was really skeptical about it. So I have no words, speechless. Amazing,
Kaushal,
ma'am. Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much. I appreciate this
Agreed with
countdown.
Kaushal. On this point, I am also agreeing with Kaushal. Rightly said by Kaushal.
Yes, thank you so much, Abhishek and Kaushal. Very kind words, and I really appreciate them. Learnings, however, बहुत बढ़िया है. So, although we have 3 volunteers here, and mostly everybody is going to say, अरे स्मिता ने ये किया, संजय ने ये किया, संजना ने ये ऐड किया, नहीं किया. Please don't take it personally, and let me remind you, no matter where I take this activity, whether it's online or offline, ऐसा ही होता है. And that actually gives us an idea about how to be better listener. Better nahi, I think we can say that, active listener. So we have to move towards active listening. Because listening to ho gaya, these 3 people, volunteers out here, and everybody else was not doing anything else. You were not distracted, you were not on the phone, you were totally into the activity. So listening ho raha hai, but we are not able to reproduce exactly. So और क्या कर सकते हैं is what our intention is. But yes,
This is
please go
Kaushal.
ahead and tell me what was added, deleted.
Should I
Yeah.
I
start?
think
Can I-
yeah.
No, let's listen to the others. Then you will probably Sanjana get कि कुछ तो different था शायद.
मैं तो एक लाइन अभी भी बोल रही हूँ कि संजय ने जो बोला उसमें से एक लाइन तो मैंने खुद ही मिस कर दी है.
Yes, what was that?
She did not belong to that place. She had no idea about that place.
You did say it, because I wrote it down.
Which I did. But I did.
But
Okay.
I didn't mean anything like that. Whatever I said, I didn't mean anything like that. She did not belong to that place.
Okay, so now we have a
I
problem.
meant
Sanjay
something
says
else.
मैंने ये बोला ही नहीं था. Okay. So Sanjay says so one of the problems is he didn't say it, but you thought about it. And you're so sure you heard it that you're telling me later on, अरे मैंने ये miss कर दिया, although you had it. All right. Anybody else? Anything else was added?
So I
Swarni?
think,
Yes, Kathy.
so I think the entire story बदल गया. The context same था कि लड़की के ऊपर था, and end goal same था कि कोई उसको मदद नहीं किया. Nobody helped her. Whatever masala and spice each person added was different from the main story. So it was fun, and hats off to you, ma'am. And the entire team also did very well because conceptually they were taking the understanding and moving ahead. So it's
Okay.
like when you watch a movie and when you're translating that movie to someone else on how the movie is successful, you add your own masala, you add your own twist. So that was the trend that happened, but the end objective meet ho gaya ki nobody helped her.
Okay. I'm going to just hold the thought. I'm not going to agree or disagree with that, but we'll have
Yes,
to
sir.
discuss this. Yes, Kaushal.
Okay. I wanted to say that there were a lot of key words while you were describing the event. If we would have noted the keywords, this could have been, really well. I mean, without
Okay.
error. So one of the key aspect in listening is taking notes. Very important. So there were keywords like Main Street, MG Road. Uh, so there were a lot of keywords. I myself did not take notes. I wanted to, however. But I
Okay.
was like noticing this.
All right. Okay, so notes is one thing that would have helped because keywords like MG Road, which actually Smita did talk about. Okay, she said MG Road. She also mentioned Main Street, which I think got missed later on.
Yes,
But
yes.
taking notes might help. Yes, Varnim.
Asking questions as well. Asking questions in between.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Asking
Hello.
questions
Yeah,
in
this is
between
Swarnim.
to confirm means what I have heard. Do you mean? Do you really mean to say that? What I understand
Sanjay, I'm not able to hear you clearly. What did you say?
means we should ask questions in between while listening to others. We should ask questions
Okay. So
to
why did you
confirm.
not ask questions?
Yeah, I missed that.
Okay. Now, one could be that you did not ask, you missed it. Secondly, it could be some assumptions, you know. Remember, we talked about it in the last class. What comes in the way of communication? Some assumption that, okay, I'm not allowed to ask questions here. ये तो एक fun वाला exercise है. So I'm not allowed to ask questions. I cannot do anything. But you could have just checked with me that, okay, Simantini, can I ask some questions?
I
And
think
I think, Hmm.
Sanjana did actually ask Sanjay to repeat wherever she was not comfortable. So she was trying to paraphrase, and also assumption is because we many times think, "Acha, ha, yehi hoga." You know, not only because of the questioning, this story will go like this only, or this thing is like this only. That's an assumption that human mind also makes.
Right. And you've actually mentioned two important points. One is that Sanjana asked for a repetition, and I think one or two places she paraphrased. I'm not very sure. Okay.
Yes, she
Swarnim, you had to
repeated
say
whatever.
something.
Yeah. First, I appreciate all the efforts put by three participants, and I realized it's a very tough task to listen actively and then paraphrase what we have listened. So, in the first narration, as we all observed, Smita has very near to all the incident. She narrated near to the exact narration which you have told. She mentioned the MG Road, the main street, then her appearance of the lady. But in a second narration, the story got changed. That street road, the name of the street was missed. Then there are many addition, like her cloth was dirty due to the accident. Then she rolled down in the street, and the beggar even not come up for to help her. So I think this is our human tendency while listening. Whenever we miss something, we try to fill up those gaps with our own assumptions or thought. That might be the reason why the actual content of the story get changed when we start saying what we have listened or when we start narrating. So that care should be taken while
Yeah.
listening. And as Kaushal mentioned, we should jot down all the notes, key points. So
Right.
that will help to memorize the incident as it is.
Perfect. Pushpalata in the chat box has also said Delhi aa gaya, mall aa gaya, which were not mentioned at all. Not even beggars helped. वो भी किधर भी mention नहीं था. Beggar का नाम ही नहीं था किधर भी. So all these were a little bit of additions there. In fact, Smita herself actually added car. Did I mention a car?
No, because the word drive came in and driver came in. So if I would have had a ride, I would have definitely taken a two-wheeler name. But because it was a drive word, I had to check out that it would be a car. That's what I was about to tell you. Ki I raised the hands just to say that whenever an incident is actively listened, we start visualizing the image as a comic strip, and that comic strip gets paraphrased when we are narrating a story. So probably the active listening and the visualization actually abstracts and gives an image of addition and deletions.
But when I actually talked about the story, I didn't talk about the car at all. I actually
Yeah.
mentioned a vehicle. So it could have been a truck, it could have been a bus. In fact, more likely the accident happened by these vehicles rather than a car.
Generally, a two-wheeler hitting and a lady in a disarrayed position, definitely that logical wouldn't work with me. So.
In fact, Smita, you also added a word, caste, which was not mentioned
Yes,
at all.
yes, I remember it, and I was like, after that, I was vigilant about it.
And Sanjay luckily forgot all about the caste. He didn't mention the caste
Actually,
at all.
Sanjay saved me. I was like this at the car.
So you're happy that Sanjay forgot the
Yes.
caste part, but it was not mentioned.
True for that reason, honestly.
Yes, Sanjana, you have raised your hand.
Okay, so while we say that it's very important to take notes and we're discussing about how to make this right, there could be even places, not regularly, but often, sometimes, that we take notes. But then when we are in a hurry or we know ki immediately we need to answer someone, there are 10 people watching, you might miss certain points out of it. So how that can be taken care. For example, I actually wrote while Sanjay was telling me, but I was writing very fast and there was some disturbance of sound at my place. So I wrote it. So if we talk about MG Road, which I did not mention, but Sanjay told and I've written it.
Oh, you have written it.
I wrote it and I did not mention while I was telling back. So
Okay.
this again, I feel is a very big communication thing which happens with ourselves only, not with someone else. Because he said, I wrote it, but when I replied back, I did not tell it.
Okay. All right. So, in fact, this is the third person who is saying you should take down notes. Now, I want to ask, do you want to hear the whole story again?
Obviously, yes.
Okay. So this is just for Sanjay and Sanjana's benefit. And for the others, now you'll realize kya add ho gaya and kya nahi. Okay. So it started like this, that it was a busy day and traffic was heavy on MG Road, also known as Main Street. So ये traffic वगैरह का सब miss out हो गया. In fact, mall came in, Delhi came in, which I don't know how. Then the pedestrians were finding it hard to cross the road. Then one young lady, so that young also got missed out, who could have been there to make a purchase, got impatient. So I think Smita mentioned about the impatience part also. One young lady who could have been there to make a purchase got impatient. She started walking and was hit by a vehicle. Probably the driver did not see her. Okay. The impact caused her to fall down. After falling down, she lay absolutely still. Many onlookers feared the worst. As a result of the impact, her clothes were in a disarray and more of her was visible than she intended. Okay. The heavy makeup and her attire suggested that she was not from a respectable background, perhaps of poor morals, which is why, leave alone help her, nobody there wanted to touch her. Okay. Now see, if you notice, although Kathy said, context sab samajh mein aaya hai, end product samajh mein aaya hai, I'm not very sure. So all I think three people and gathered was accident ho gaya, lady ka ho gaya, and nobody helped. But what is it, if you look at it, everybody's saying you should take down notes. So all right, tell me, what would you have noted down in this narration?
Main parts of the sentences. In fact, when you're stressing on, I actually wrote down the words where you were stressing on: traffic, cannot cross, purchase, impatient, hit, lay still, and then automatically you start filling in the gaps with
And the reason
when you're
why people didn't
narrating.
come,
So
and the
making
reason why people didn't come to help her was because of her low, because they thought she was of low moral standards. And what I said was that because of her poor background, she
Yes.
looked like a beggar. Yeah.
She looked like the beggar, and then Sanjana actually said even the beggars did not help. Okay. But I think Sanjay, now second time this, when you heard it, you actually got the gist of the message.
Yes.
Okay. Kathy, context tha, but you have to understand the message. What notes you have done, we'll talk about it. But let's hear, I think somebody's raised their hand. Chalapati, yes.
Yeah, there is one more thing in addition to what people are saying, that even if you write notes or even if you mention everything in the notes, so while speaking, you become little more conscious. Because there are so many people in the session, and you know that people are going to judge you after this. So then you become so conscious that you miss out. Definitely, you will miss out on something. So is
Absolutely.
this not the reality, man?
It is.
Yes.
It is true. There's no doubt about it. See, the reason why we miss things is external to us, internal to us. Maybe it's an information overload. Maybe, I'm getting conscious. Maybe I am putting in my own assumption. Maybe there is perception part of it. So I have heard it correct, exactly the words. I'm repeating it correct. But मेरे मन में जो आ रहा है, the visualization, and your man mein kya aa raha hai, that visualization may not be at the same page, and therefore listening is so very difficult.
Right.
Okay, so this is not a blame game. I'm just trying to figure out इसमें से कर क्या सकते हैं.
Yeah. But
So
it was a
no,
wonderful exercise, man.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it was.
So, okay, coming back to the notes, I think Kathy second time wrote down some notes. Right or wrong? Is this how we should go ahead?
Notes always help. Yes.
Okay, notes always help. True that, no doubt about it. However, okay, let me just put it the other way around. When we take down notes, our brain is already doing two things. I'm listening and I'm reproducing it on the paper. Now, obviously, not all words are going to be there. When I take down notes, I go back to my college time. So all the conjunctions, prepositions, ye sab nikal ke, we have written down the major words, baki ka add karenge, and then we'll make sense of what the words mean. So these are taking down notes, which is exactly what Kathy has done. However, when we are actually listening professionally, let's say in a training class, you are listening, or I'm sitting with the manager, I'm trying to understand कि इनको क्या चाहिए. And he's telling, अरे मेरे लोग ऐसे करते हैं, ऐसा मेल लिखते हैं, वैसा करते हैं यार. And I'm noting it down. What happens? My brain is already doing two things, writing and listening. There is no analysis that happens. But when I'm in front of this manager, I really need to understand. I need to ask questions. I need to question him further to clarify, right? See, okay, like I said, this is like college wale notes. At the end of a lecture, when the professor or the teacher asks you, are there any questions? Is it all clear? We have no questions at all because we have heard it properly, we have written it down properly. But when we start studying, maybe 2 days before the exams, and you read our notes, and then you realize, "Arey yaar, ye kya hai?" You've got so many questions to ask. There are so many holes in the writing, so many things that I haven't understood. Why? Because the analysis is happening at that time. Now, when I'm listening actively, my analysis has to happen online, there. So at the same time, when Simantini is speaking, I have to not only listen to what she's saying, I have to also take down note, but I also have to understand. And like Sanjay said, questions put sakte the na, then to understand the real message so that there is no question of assumptions. There's no question of perception. All these problems get taken care of if I ask questions, which will not happen if I'm taking down notes. However, noting something down is important. So rather than take down notes, take down the bullet points. Okay, keywords which will trigger your memory. Your total, what do you say? Your aim should be actually understanding the message. So going back to my story again, what is it that I was trying to tell through the story? What do you think was the message actually? Yes, Mita.
Do not judge people on the appearance. Instead, a needy hand to be given at the time when it is required. And definitely, it's all about how you react to the people. It's your own
Okay.
judgment.
You yourself have said that it's a judgment. Okay. Now you have judged what I want to say. You are free to judge, but after you have understood. So first tell me what you have understood.
First thing in my mind which was running was to keenly listen to it, because I need to what was running in my mind was I need to do the 90% of the listening, wherein I
So
have to give the same thing.
Exactly, Smita. So for that, instead of concentrating on the words, कि बता क्या रहे हैं, try to understand the message. So again, my same question to you. Now everybody's heard it almost 2 times. What do you think? What is the gist of what I wanted to say? What is it that I really wanted to convey through this message? You said it, Smita, you just went further and judged it. Yes, Bipin.
Yes, grooming, proper dressing, proper attire. So when you are venturing out or going outside, so that is also important nowadays. So with your appearance also, people will
Okay, now again, you are drawing
think about
from the
you,
information that is
who
given to
you are,
you,
what you are.
you are drawing a conclusion. Before you draw a conclusion, understand the message. Yes, Sanjay.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to put yourself in the place of that lady. So for her, the message is be patient. Means when the traffic is heavy, just be patient. Don't rush into it. And for the public who didn't come to help her, don't judge anyone by their appearance.
All right, Sanjay, I'm going to stop you here. If you notice, all of you, what are you doing out here right now? You've now understood the message, but you're drawing your own conclusions. Like Bipin said, you should be careful about how you dress because people are going to judge you by that. You're saying it's a message to the girl to be patient. Don't rush. Smita has some other conclusion about judgment. That people are going to judge you, but we shouldn't, we should help out. Now, if you notice, all these are conclusions that you have drawn from my narrative. Now, I want you to take a pause before this and actually first confirm what you have understood, and then you're free to draw your conclusions. I still want you, when in active listening, whatever conclusion you draw, you need to check it up with me. So, Simantini, are you trying to say this? I will either say yes or I will say no. That will give you clarity. Then we can take care of assumptions. We can take care of perceptions. We will be on the same page on the understanding.
Confirmation should be there.
Yes, Jugal?
Confirmation should be there after listening.
After listening. All right. So, okay, Smita, I'm going to go back to you. Okay, because you were the closest to what you are saying. So tell
I
me what
was
was the gist. Don't give me a judgment. Gist bolo.
just that's what actually I just wanted to now check out whether you are asking me about the moral of the whole incident, or you want
Thank
me
you.
to reiterate
You
the
are now
thing.
actually realize what the problem with all the answers were. You were giving me the moral of the story. Whereas I'm asking you, story kya hai? Don't give me the moral. Okay.
So the
Moral
basic thing you
can
were
be all of these.
expecting, the more basic thing you were expecting is there was a young lady who visited a market which was very busy on MG Road, that is a main street. She met with an accident due to her appearance. People took a judgment on her appearance and did not help her and left her alone.
Yes, absolutely correct. Wonderful. Smita, now it's an easier way to do this so that you remember everything also. So just tell me one thing, that the story was that nobody helped this lady who had an accident. Why did people not help her?
Because she didn't look proper.
Okay, now proper is not a word that I used. Because proper का definition अलग रहता है, then meaning भी अलग जाएगा. Okay, so
Because
what
people
is it
thought that
exactly?
Basically,
Sorry?
you said that she was not from a respectable background was the word which was used. So
Yes.
that respectable background may have different meanings to different perseverances of
Right.
people.
So now you don't judge. What I said was that nobody helped her because they thought she's not from a respectable background and poor morals. Why did they assume this?
Body
Because of her
language.
heavy
Because of
makeup.
her attire, the dress she was wearing.
Heavy makeup and her attire. What was wrong with the attire?
because it got disarray and too much of
And
her body was being exposed.
More of her was visible than she intended.
perfect. Smita's now got all the words also correct. So more of her was visible than she intended. Her clothes were in a disarray. Now, I understand why Sanjay made a mistake that changed that disarray into dirty. Because Smita, otherwise your diction is very clear. But when you came to this problem, clothes, disarray, visibility, you went fast and you kept adding whatever, whatever.
No,
And then you
basically, I was a little bit conscious about using that
word,
in the
sentence.
gathering. Yes,
Yeah.
the gathering. I was
Correct.
vigilant. I had it in my mind, but yeah.
Yes. Okay, now please remember, these are something we call our hot buttons. Certain words we are embarrassed about. Yaar, kaise bole, more of her was visible than she intended. So in our mind, we have a very different image.
Uh,
Indecent lag rahi thi. My
Sorry
God,
to
kaisa.
interrupt, but when you also used, like when you were also narrating, there was a small pause after that. More of her was visible than she intended. There was a pause and a look up at the mirror, at the screen, which I could observe. So I'm like, a little bit was more. I was
Yeah.
taken back before 1 foot back, so that when I had to put that in a very other manner, not to be in a
Yeah.
very
Now, so very simple to take care of this. Because here what is happening, thoda embarrassing ho raha hai. My diction is I take lots of pauses. So if you may have noticed elsewhere also I have taken pauses. But yahan aapko takleef ho gayi. Mainly because when I say that her clothes were in a disarray, more of her was visible, we again, our mind is jumping to conclusions. Maybe indecent lag rahi thi, maybe, really very bad she was looking. Maybe her clothes were torn at all the wrong places. But it need not be. Okay, these are something that is coming to our mind. For all maybe I'm worn a sari and wo sari knees tak upar gayi because I fell down. It's still more of me was visible than she intended. And because we get embarrassed or these are hot buttons, we don't want to say it. Best thing out here to do is ask me questions. पूछो questions. What do you mean, Simantini? ये disarray का मतलब क्या रहता है? Was she looking really bad? So इतना questions अगर पूछोगे इधर, तो one things will be out in the open. You will be a little bit more okay by repeating that. You won't feel embarrassed or you won't feel concerned. So in this case, the question was about clothes and decency. Very often, delivery deadlines miss ho gaye, bug aa gaya. These are the hot buttons. So which usually we try to gloss over. We don't really want to talk about it. We'll talk about all the peripherals. And so important hai that we will try to just zoom through, go quickly, not show any, not, emphasize. Now, as leaders also, we have to be very, very clear. This is what is going to happen. Nobody, then your team is going to come and tell you, I messed up. और बाकी का बोल के he'll go. So you have to pinpoint क्या हो गया है. That is where the questioning will help. Okay, so our story is come up to the clothes were in a disarray. Why were they in a disarray?
Because of the accident.
Because of the accident, maybe because she fell down.
Yes, and see, anybody who falls down, the first thing they do is they straighten up. She did not.
She could not get up.
She could not get up because there's one sentence I have written, that because of the impact, the impact caused her to fall down, and after falling down, she lay absolutely still.
And
Many
people
onlookers feared the
anticipated the
Because she was
worst.
worst.
unconscious.
Maybe. We don't know, but that is what was said. So maybe
People
she
feared
was
the worst.
unconscious.
That sentence was there.
That sentence was important. So now if you do this why, you've actually got the whole story understood. So with the questioning, with the understanding, probably in your notes, you will actually have to write down maybe MG Road, lady ka naam, if at all it's given, and maybe the driver did not see her. Okay.
sometimes, ma'am, the kind of conditioning we've had, our own perceptions, our judgments, our own thought process act as a filter to the
Yes.
actual communication, which
Well,
needs to be removed. Our culture barriers,
yes.
the way we have been brought up, and uh, we've been told certain things are good, certain things are bad. You must say this, you must not say this. A lot of things.
Yes.
So all these things need to be removed.
Yes. Now, it's very difficult to remove them because we don't realize that we have these barriers. And
Yeah,
therefore,
because it's
these,
ingrained. Yeah,
yes,
since
yes.
childhood, or probably from since
We're
ages,
con
it has been ingrained in our brain.
yes. We're conditioned to think in a particular manner.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is remove that conditioning or keep an open mind. So wherever you think, I'm going toward judgment, like Smita said, moral of the story ke upar ja rahe hai, that's when you should question. Once you've understood it, then you're free to judge. But we shouldn't judge before we have understood. So let me just share the screen again. All right. So what can we do? First, of course, give your undivided attention to the speaker. This exercise, absolutely no problem. Sanjana, Sanjay, Smita, everybody was given undivided attention to the speaker. Now imagine if you were also working on the laptop and listening. फिर स्टोरी तो और भी कम हो जाती, राइट? या दूसरी तरफ चली जाती. So that is one of the biggest learning. We do that very often. Half the time you're working and you're on the phone with, with aisa shoulder karke. Ha, bolo, I'm listening. So how are you going to be able to actually listen? Especially on the phone. Sanjay also said, that I couldn't hear very well. So Sanjay ka little bit of words, even for me, some words I couldn't hear. So, clothes were dirty. Sanjana, her shoes were dirty. Luckily, Sanjana actually asked him, I heard till shoes were dirty. And Sanjay said, no, I didn't talk about shoes. It was the clothes. So just a question, yeah, one thing that Sanjana spoke and little bit was more clarified. So please remember, listening is not passive listening ki sunte ja rahe. You have to be an active participant in the whole process. Focus on the matter, what is being said, be alert. Be alert to what I am, what my conditioning is, what my thought process is. Am I jumping to conclusions? Am I judging here? Okay, so suspend judgment, try to understand the situation or what is being said. And then there are 3 key active listening skills: paraphrasing, questioning, and summarizing. So before we go on, Sanjay, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to say something. When I was listening, so when I was listening the word desiring, so I knew the meaning of desiring, but it was not in my active vocabulary. So when I was recalling, so I substituted it with dirty.
Ah,
So that's that's when the whole
yes.
change came.
And disarray and dirty, 2 totally different words.
Yes, two
Yes.
totally different words.
Yeah. Himanshu?
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. I want to add something. Can I?
Yes, of course.
Ma'am, while taking notes, no, while listening, we can make in our notebook, there are 2 columns. On one column or left side, we can write as it is what speaker is speaking. On second side, we can make notes like asking question. How can I use in my life? Why I should use in my life? Or when or where I can use. So what will happen in left side, we will write as it is what your speaker is speaking. At the same time, this question will be in our mind. So we will ask the question or we get the, I think more clearly what speaker want to say.
Yes, true. So whichever works
Thank
for you. I write down, in fact, when all the 3 speakers were speaking, I have written down my notes. So I have written down that, Smita started very well by giving an overview. but instead of the vehicle, she used the word car. Then my notes were also that very often, instead of completing what she's saying, she said whatever, whatever. Then the word caste was added. Now, Sanjay, in fact, in MG Road, all that was missed. And he said, I think because for him, what stuck in his mind was the young lady could have been there to make a purchase, shopping wala tha. So he assumed it's a mall. So mall aa gaya beech mein. And Sanjay, you also added that, the accident could have happened either because of the carelessness of the lady or the negligence of the driver.
Yes.
Okay,
Carelessness was
so, so now, if I were to just discuss this without noting down points, I would have missed out so many things. But since I wrote it down over here, now I can actually give feedback to Sanjay कि ऐसा आपने ऐसा बोला. Now you have to analyze ये क्यों बोला, ये क्या हो गया. So it's all perception that is coming in the play. You're jumping to conclusions. This is what we are saying. Don't judge. So taking down notes, but what notes you take down is very important. And what do you do after taking down those notes? This is what you have to have the discussion. So these are three key skills that we need to add, paraphrasing, asking questions, and summarizing. Now, many of you have used this word paraphrasing. That, Sanjana, Smita paraphrased it that way, Sanjay paraphrased it that way. There is a key difference in what you're thinking and what actually paraphrasing means. Okay, paraphrasing means restating what another has said in your own words to get a confirmation. Okay, so why should you do this? Mainly because original language is not particularly memorable. Like I'm using words like disarray, I'm using words like more of her was visible than she intended. So complex language, complex ideas, embarrassing ideas. It's going to be difficult for me to reproduce that because it's not common to me. This is where I need to paraphrase. Okay. Or sometimes the language is very difficult to understand. Sometimes the person doesn't get to the point, घूम finally gets to the point. So यहाँ का याद रखने का, second circle का याद रखने का, और the message का याद रखने का. So what you should do is learn to paraphrase. Now, how does it happen? How do you paraphrase? So each paraphrase is basically a close-ended question. So I'm actually asking a question to the speaker. So, for example, like Sanjay said that, disarray is not a common word for him. So what question he can or how he can paraphrase is, so Simantini, are you saying that the lady was looking indecent because her clothes were in a disarray? So I'm asking a question by just using the same context in my own words. And I will then answer, Sanjay, I don't know if she was looking indecent or not. It is not mentioned. It's just mentioned that more of her was visible. So much clarity. So paraphrasing, meaning each paraphrase starts with a prefix. Some of the examples are given here. This is not a whole exhaustive list, but you can always start like this. So you seem to be saying, are you saying that? It sounds like this, etc., etc. This prefix followed by a restatement, and then you ask the speaker, am I right or wrong? So either I get a yes answer, which clarifies everything, or I might say, no, 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 this is what I mean. Okay. For example, suppose somebody is telling you this, yesterday I rushed around. I seem to have no time for myself. I went from one place to another and it was hard to fit everything in. Now, a person who's saying this usually says it very fast, animated. How do you paraphrase it? Simply, this is the simplest example, okay? Looks like you had a very hectic day, right? So I'm going to say yes or no, and then you get the answer. Now, this is a very simple example. Now, you take this example. School has always been really difficult for me. Okay, I really have to work hard to do well. My grades have always been very good, but it hasn't been easy. Not like my sister. Megan has always just waltzed right through school. She just reads the chapter once and it's all there when the test comes. Okay, now how would you paraphrase it? What would you say?
Your sister is very good in studies.
It has to be a question, Sanjay.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Niharika.
I would like to say, if I have understood it correctly, the school was not a great place for me. I wasn't very good at studies as compared to my sister, who had it much easier than what I could have. And uh, sh- she was so good at her studies that wherever she read something, she pretty much remembers or something. Am I correct in my understanding?
Yes. Niharika, but one thing in paraphrasing is you have to make it short.
Even
Preferably
shorter than this?
yes. In fact, you
Okay,
could have
okay.
just stopped there, or maybe you could have combined. So it's a little difficult. That's why I'm actually getting it done here. थोड़ा
Great.
difficult है, थोड़ा practice लगेगा.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
Sanjay. How would you paraphrase it?
So maybe we just keep it simple. Ask a question. Do you find it difficult to study as compared to your sister?
See, questioning is different. That's another skill. We're just learning how to paraphrase. So I'm not saying what you're saying, doing is wrong, but we're learning how to paraphrase. I would like you to try and paraphrase it. Yes, Kathy, you had raised your hand too.
So I would paraphrase it, which means your sister is better in grades. No, so I would say is that okay. So grades are a little difficult as compared to your sister.
Okay.
Getting good grades is difficult for you as compared to your sister, since she's better in understanding the chapters in one go.
Correct.
Okay.
It sound like that. Actually, there is a comparison in terms of grasping. So see more like her sister grabs more in
Okay.
minimum time and getting.
So, Jugal, if you have to use it in paraphrasing, all you need to say is, so are you saying that Megan has a greater grasping power than you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, same thing what you said, but it needs to be rephrased this way. Yes, Shuli.
Yeah, so probably can paraphrase like this. So let's say when I say my grades, so it is Shuli. So Shuli, what you're trying to say is that Megan's school or Megan's school time was much more easier than yours.
Because
Okay,
she did
fine.
not have to study as hard
Study.
as you
Okay,
did.
okay,
Okay.
okay, got
Because
it.
then it
Yes.
is halfway through. So पूरा
Okay.
paraphrase करने का है.
G. Okay, thank you.
Alright.
Yes.
So you get how to do it? I have just got one example. It doesn't really mean that this is the absolute correct one. So while you have done well in school, you had to work very hard. Am I right? Maybe I can just add, unlike your sister, Megan. Okay. So in the following slides, there are some more examples that are given, which you can read whenever the slides come to you. Okay. What I would like to move on is the next skill, that is questioning. So we have number of questions that I think somebody's written in the chat box, Sunanda. So what you are saying is you had to really work hard to do well. Absolutely correct. Okay, so questioning skills, very, very important. It is called, the fine art of asking questions. Why? Because good quality questions produce good quality answers. Now, what are the different kinds of questions that we can ask? So different kinds are there. These are some of them: open, probing, close, silence, reflective. So use all kinds of questions to actually understand. Okay, let's do a quick exercise here. All right, so I need a volunteer. Anybody? Kathy? Because your video is on. All right. Uh, so Kathy, do you watch television?
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of programs do you watch?
I prefer watching daily soap serials.
Okay, daily soaps you like to watch. Hindi, English, Marathi, or
Hindi.
what language?
Hindi.
Hindi. All right. So you see these serials which are continuing, right? So every day
Yes.
they have a different episode, or
Yes.
all right,
Every day.
every day. So there is anything particularly that you watch?
I don't know. I love to watch Anupama.
Okay. All right. So you like to watch Anupama, and so I'm sorry, but I don't know this serial. So what is it all about? Drama or comedy or what is it?
It's drama.
Drama. All right. So you like to watch Hindi drama, and Anupama is one of your favorite. Other than that, do you watch anything?
Other than that, Netflix on family demand, kids entertainment,
Okay.
and that's
So cartoons, is it?
yeah, cartoons. Nowadays, kids prefer watching Ninja, and unlike the cartoons that we watched in our time. So
Okay.
whatever goes on family demand, I sit and just
Wow. So Netflix,
watch.
say, other than cartoons, you also watch movies or other
Yes, thriller movies and
film? Again, preferred language is
action.
Hindi
English on Netflix.
on Netflix English. All right. So you actually watch a lot of things on TV. So English movies, which are thrillers, or even you have to sit with your kids and watch Ninja and other cartoons which they like.
Yes.
But your preference is to watch Anupama and you like soaps. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
Question for all of you. Did you notice the questioning?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me what all did I do?
So I think you
First,
start.
first
Probed her
you
to.
started
Okay,
with
let's take it
open-ended
one
questions.
by one. Bipin, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So first you started with open-ended questions to come where she has to answer. Exactly.
Mhm.
She has to open up.
Yes.
Then for clarification, you have used some probing questions to get detail of what she said, get into the details, and you try to rephrase it and close the get a confirmation from her using close-ended questions.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. Uh, Kathy will come to you. Surely, yes.
Yes. So I think you started with a close-ended question, probably asking, what do you do? Do you watch TV or something? And then she said yes. Then you asked what kind of programs. It was open-ended. You used a lot of probing questions and then a little bit of reflective questions. And what do you like about the kind of serial that, because you said that I don't know about Anupama, so what do you like about it? A little bit of reflective questions. But I think the silence questions was not there probably, because that would have been more on the face-to-face basis. Otherwise, there were a good mixture of the different type of questions. A lot of probing questions was also there as
Right.
to what kind of Netflix, what kind of movies do you watch? Do you also see cartoons or family time? A lot of those questions. There was a good mix of types of questions.
Yeah. So when I asked Kathy in the beginning, do you watch television? That was a close-ended question.
Close-ended, yes.
Only answer is yes or no. Because
Yes.
further questioning line would have been totally different if she had said, no, I don't watch TV.
Exactly,
So
yes.
first you have to start, in this situation, close-ended says chalu kiya. But yes, open-ended. When I asked Kathy, what kind of television programs do you watch? And her answer was soaps. She likes to watch soaps, which is the answer. It's correct. She likes it. But when you keep on digging further, when you keep on probing further, you not only get what she likes, but other things also. So she likes soap, but she also watches cartoons. She also watches English movies. She prefers to watch soaps. So you get so much more information by questioning. So when we actually are asked questions in the training room by a participant, one, you need to listen, but you can probe a little further to actually try and figure out कि उसको problem कहाँ आ रही है. Because question may be X, you give the answer to X, उसके मन में कुछ और ही है, because very often people don't really tell what doubt they really have. They probably can't process it, or maybe they're not able to articulate what they're saying. So using these different kinds of questions would be helpful. Okay, silence is something I did not use. But आप करते हो using silence? Tell me when I could have used it.
Anything that you would have asked me that would be very personal, and my response would be just by expression. Could be.
Or probably a judgmental look in a face to face.
No judgments.
No? Okay, okay.
In listening, no judgments.
Okay. No, I'm just putting my feelings.
A scenario of ambiguous answer, ma'am, where we don't have a clear answer, maybe dual answers in one. There we could have that there would be a pause and checking out. A
Okay.
possibility of an ambiguous answer, probably. I don't know. I don't what.
All right. Now, did you notice I use silence with Smita?
That's what. Where was the context of this ambiguous answer? Was the ambiguity there, and that silence was the question.
So what happens is, I'm not talking about dead silence, okay? That is not what I mean by silence as a means of asking question. Silence of 15 to 20 seconds maximum actually makes the person who's speaking to elaborate further. So very often, you can't keep on asking questions. So what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? Tell me why. It shouldn't sound like an interrogation, but I still need the details. So there are very often, 15 seconds of silence, and they have to elaborate more. So even if I had just, when we were doing the exercise, Kathy, and you said, yeah, I like to watch Anupama. And I could have just said, Anupama. Then you will have to tell me, no, yes, it's a daily which comes in the evening. And if I had not asked you further question, you would have elaborated on Anupama.
Anupama, exactly.
Especially when, little, what do you say, थोड़ा difficult areas जो रहता है ना, उधर अपने अगर question silence use किया, तो they tell more. Niharika, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, I have. So, I mean, can I ask you something about corporate culture? This is because we are talking about questions, and this is I work with corporate, and recently it so happens that whenever I ask something, we are asked something of our boss, they expect us to just understand things out of the blue. Okay, what should be a rephrasing or a questioning technique? Because I tried open-ended and probing and whatnot, but somehow it does not get to the bottom of the things. Is there a tonal quality, or is there something else that I could change to make the work effective?
Yeah.
If you could answer that.
Yeah. Niharika, one is using all types of questions that we have here. Two, what you brought about is very important, the tone. So, your manager is telling you, I want you to do this. And I say, why? It's a genuine reason. Okay, I'm not saying you say that, but if I answer it that way, I have a genuine question. Why do you want me to do it? But the tone has come out so inappropriately that the person gets offended. So tone becomes a very important aspect of general communication, not just questioning. But here, Niharika, if questioning is not helping, use paraphrasing that we've discussed earlier, seeking
Okay, got it.
confirmations.
Got it,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you so
Very
much.
often we have to do this. Some little bit of In fact, I don't know how many noticed when I was talking to Kathy, 2 or 3 times I paraphrased in between.
Yes, yes, you did.
Hmm.
Yes.
Just to get a confirmation. So
Yes, certainly.
it isn't कि अभी मैं paraphrasing use किया. Now let me go to questioning. It's a mixture. You have to use everything together.
Got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So last one is summarizing. So summarizing is also another very, very important aspect of listening skills. If you noticed with Kathy also, I did that at the end. So what we do is we take away all the irrelevant information. You focus on the heart of the matter. You use keywords like Anupama and things like that, or ninja, so that you actually get a conclusion. So after all our questioning is done, after all our clarifications are done, after all the paraphrasing is done, conversation needs to be summarized, especially lengthy ones. Yes, Shivli.
Yeah, ma'am, could you just give us a difference between paraphrase and summarizing? Because they are like, I think there is a thin line of difference, but
You're
there
right.
is surely a difference.
Summarizing happens only once at the end of
Okay,
the conversation.
okay,
Biggest
done.
difference. Okay. Paraphrase will happen multiple times depending upon the topic. So if you have a very simple conversation, you may not use any of these things. But thoda difficult hai, complex hai, too many points are being raised, then paraphrasing becomes important while the conversation is happening. Summarizing happens at the end, where you summarize all the points that have been discussed. A second major
Thank you
difference
so
is
much. Yes.
usually paraphrasing is a question. Are you saying this? Do you mean to say this? Which has to be answered. Summarization need not be a question. It's a summary.
Done. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. So listening skills, we've got all this. And last one important part, which just now we talked about also, tonality. So similarly, I'm not just using tonality, I'm also adding body language to it. You know, when you're listening, you have to maintain a good body language. The other person should feel like talking more. In fact, if you have a positive body language, it encourages the speaker to speak more. You know, we might have our own habits. You know, I'll give you an example where a friend of mine who was a short commissioned officer in the army, one time on assignment he was given where he had to go to a place and survey that place, and has to make a report when the entire battalion came in. So all that happened. His boss came in, and my friend Subhash started giving the report. Now all the time Subhash is speaking, the boss is sitting like this. Now,
Monotonous.
no. Subhash is speaking. He's speaking well. The listener, his boss, he's sitting like this, with his, head in his hand. And then Subhash starts talking, takes a pause for a minute, expecting some kind of a response from the boss. Boss still continues sitting like this. Second pause, boss gets upset. I'm listening, Subhash, please continue. Now Subhash says another few things, again takes a pause, anxiously looks at the boss. Now the boss is getting angry. I told you I'm listening, please continue. Now the third time this happens, the boss gets upset and says, now if you stop, I'm going to fire you. The poor bichara Subhash blurts out everything he had to say. Now at the end of the conversation, the boss starts asking him questions. And that's when Subhash realizes that this man has heard every single word that has been said and is asking the most important and pertinent questions. So my question to you is it okay to sit like this while you're listening? No?
Not
So,
at all.
None of
But
us.
then maybe, that's how I concentrate, that's how everything goes into my brain.
It is okay only if he's our boss.
No, Viraj, it's not okay, even if it's the boss. All right. Mainly because
Not okay. We just don't say it.
We are
yeah,
communicating something.
It's
if
a
you
bad
know,
body language, if
yeah,
I'm not wrong.
no, it is not. See now, body language is again about interpretation. Now you're sitting like this, मेरा सर दुख रहा है या I'm concentrating या क्या बकवास चल रही है, can be interpreted in any which way. And look at it the other way around. If the boss had actually given him positive body language, okay, go on, uh, asked a question at that moment, maybe Subhash would have done a better job of giving the message. All right. So this is all about active listening. Let's just end. I have a, like I said, a capsule on different communication styles. Now we have many communication styles. Okay, we are focusing on 4 ones here. Aggressive, assertive, passive, passive aggressive. So what do you really mean by all of them? So one quick example. Let's say, I'm taking a training program. It's at a very far off place. And a friend of mine calls up. And she says that, Arey, Simantini, you're in Hinjewadi kya? मैं भी उधर ही हूँ. So after you finish, what time are you going to finish? I say, I'm going to finish at 5:30. अरे यार, मेरा तो 7 बजे खत्म हो जाएगा. Wait for me, we'll go home together. We haven't met for such a long time, so we'll go home together. It'll be a good time to catch up. Abhi, my friend is telling me to wait from 5:30 to 7 for her. I don't want to wait. One, what am I going to do? From 5:30 to 7, मैं क्या करूँगी? One. Two, 7 बजे निकलेंगे तो I'll get caught in traffic. So I don't want to wait. Now, how do I respond to her? Suppose I do this. Okay, that she tells me, wait for me till 7, then we'll catch up. Then we'll go home together, we'll catch up. Haven't met for such a long time. And I actually just stop her midway and say, Kya? You want me to wait till 7 o'clock? Are you crazy? Don't you know the things at my home? Don't you know mere bachche hai and I have to cook for them? How can you even suggest this? Which style have I used?
Aggressive.
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 Yes. So my voice is loud, my actions are loud, and the whole thing is about I get my way. I don't wait for her. But in the whole process, I've hurt her, right? So it's like win-lose situation. Okay, same scenario. Now my response is like this. I don't want to wait. But यार मेरी friend है. एंड वो बात कर रही है वो भी सही है, बहुत दिन मिले नहीं हैं, इट विल बी अ गुड वे टू कैच अप. ठीक है यार, थोड़ा लेट पहुंच जाएंगे घर. सो आई डोंट वांट टू वेट. आई स्टिल से यस, ओके, आई विल वेट. व्हिच स्टाइल?
Passive.
Passive.
Assertive. Passive. Passive.
Assertive.
No,
Passive. That's
passive.
passive.
Passive. Passive.
Absolutely
Passive.
passive. I'm not getting what I want. I'm not even telling her what I want. I'm just letting go and accommodating my friend. She wins, I lose. Okay. Now, third example, same situation. My friend calls up and I don't want to wait. So I tell her, look, yaar, Sanjana, I would love to catch up with you. I know we haven't met for a long time, but I can't wait till 7 o'clock. You know the situation at my home. You know the traffic chaos that happens after 7. So how about if I'll wait for you till about 6 o'clock? Can you come by then? If not, we'll catch up some other time. Which is this?
Assertive.
Assertive.
Yes, this is assertive. So what I'm telling is I'm understanding my friend's point of view. I am actually giving my side of the story, what I want. I'm trying to give a workable solution ki 7 baje tak nahi, but I can wait till 6 o'clock for you. And in probably with more discussion, we'll come up with a solution which works for both of us. That is assertiveness. So I'm not apologetic when I say no. I'm not passive by saying yes when I didn't want to say yes. I'm not raising my voice, but at the same time, I am firm. That is assertive. There is a fourth category also. Okay, passive aggressive, where when my friend tells me to wait, I say yes, okay, great, I'll see you at 7 o'clock. And मेरा काम खत्म करके I go. I don't wait. I just leave. 7 बजे my friend calls me up saying कहाँ है तू? अरे नहीं यार, मेरे को बहुत urgent call आ गया. I had to go back home. I'm so sorry. Couldn't even call up to tell you कि जा रही हूँ. Passive aggressive. Both
That's
look.
lying.
Hmm? What was that, Shivli? What did you say?
I'm saying that's lying. Such a bold Lola.
Yeah,
We do
it
that many
is.
a time.
This happens very often, no? Because as a culture, we cannot say no.
Mm-hmm.
So, हाँ बोलते हैं, लेकिन deliver कहाँ करते हैं? If I had just told her my problems, we had discussed, it's so easy, but culturally, ना बोलना बहुत मुश्किल है हमारे लिए.
Yep. So true.
That's where we go into a passive aggressive behavior. Preeti, yes, you've raised your hand.
Ma'am, if I'm being sarcastic and after being sarcastic I say yes, would that be counting as passive aggressive as well?
Yes, passive aggressive sarcasm usually comes. Sarcasm is actually very difficult. It also comes in the aggressive category. Oh yeah, you want me to wait up to 7 o'clock? What do you think? So I'm not raising my voice, but that sarcasm could go into aggression also. It could also go into passive aggressive. Either
But
way, sarcasm is so bad because you can't really make out. Aggressive रहेगा, at least I know where I stand. You know, as a listener, I know what you are angry about. I know what your thoughts are. Sarcasm में कुछ भी नहीं समझता है.
लेकिन मैम passive would end up saying yes.
Yes.
And being aggressive, I'll say no. The combination of passive aggressive would probably reflect that I'm not really willing to do this, and yet I'm doing this. And I'll very subtly, in a very affronting way, I might even communicate that factor. कि ये हाँ मुझे एक्स्ट्रा आवर्स रुकना पड़ेगा तुम्हारे लिए एडिशनली, बट ठीक है वो कर लेंगे. एक ही दिन करना है ना तुम्हारे लिए, कोई बात नहीं,
So
एक दिन के लिए तो कर सकते हैं.
this is not sarcasm. This is not even passive aggressive. It's a conversation. You're being assertive.
This is assertive. Okay.
Because you've made it very clear that you don't want to, but you're also telling that ठीक है आपके लिए एक दिन कर देती हूँ.
Okay.
So आप थोड़ा emotional blackmail कर रही हैं यहाँ, but yes, you're still being assertive.
Have to do, मैम, वरना extra hours काम करना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes, yes, करना पड़ेगा. So then you can, but however, any situation, usually, assertiveness works. थोड़ा you might have to, it's not very easy when somebody is angry with you. अपनी भी तो तलवार निकलती है. So we can't, it's simple. No, you go to, let's
So
say you go
true,
to a
ma'am.
crowded theater and somebody, सामने वाला, or by mistake while you're walking, you happen to, somebody happens to kick you. By mistake. And you get angry and say, क्या बे, देख के नहीं चल सकता है?
Mumbai
Immediate
local.
response is, तू अंधा है क्या? But if you
Always happens in
say,
local trains.
Yes, ma'am.
and if you take care, immediately you'll say, sorry yaar, galti se lag gaya. So usually aggression builds aggression, but if you are assertive, you do get an assertive response. And dealing with aggressive and passive people is difficult. Now, we don't have time to take that, but a very nice write-up is given in your manuals about how to deal with passive people, how to deal with aggressive people using this assertiveness. So please go through that. You will get a lot of details.
Ma'am, I had a request.
Ma'am,
If you can share your
ma'am,
PPTs, because last time PPTs are also not available. Only the
I
YouTube
have
recordings.
sent it to Sarita ma'am. I think she will send
We
it
have
to you.
not received books also. We have not yet received any
Yes,
material.
ma'am.
Okay. Um, just raise a query with Sarita ma'am. I think they must be on the way. Mil
Yes,
jayenge.
ma'am. Ma'am, if you could just put in a good word about sending the PPT sooner, because it
I'll
becomes
do
a,
that. I'll
yeah.
ask her to do it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So
मैम
what I'll
थोड़ा सा पैसिव अग्रेसिव का थोड़ा सा और
okay.
अंडरस्टैंडिंग करा देंगे तो थोड़ा हाउ इट इज
So maybe this slide can help you with this. So when we are actually the style of communication that we use, it depends upon this matrix, how much respect you have for self and for others. Now, there are some people who have got full respect for myself, my thoughts, my idea, I, me, myself. Utna hi hai. With no respect for others, you go into the aggressive. Naturally, you go into the aggressive category. But if I have too much respect for other people, others क्या सोचेंगे, उसको क्या लगेगा, I might hurt him, he might feel bad. इतना respect for others, no concern about yourself, you will end up being passive. If you have equal amount of respect for self as well as for others, you end up being assertive. But if you don't even have any respect for yourself or others, you probably end up being passive aggressive. That is one thing. Like I said, na nahi bolna aata hai. So I don't want to say no to my friend because I feel I will hurt her. But मुझे तो रुकना नहीं है. So I will not hurt her. I will say yes to her, but I will do what I want. That is passive aggressive. But in the whole process, you've not achieved anything. One is that you also feel guilty कि मैंने हाँ बोला था ना कर दिया. Then like somebody said, you are totally lying. Third, the other person, your friend, you're going to put her in the soup. Maybe, she had means of transportation. Now you are there, so she must have let that go. Now at 7 o'clock, she'll have to start searching how to go home, where to go home, how to reach home, all these things. So it doesn't work for anybody. Now, this is our fallback option. Doesn't mean that we have to stick to it. It's a learned behavior. So I want you to choose your style. ऐसा नहीं है कि passive कभी भी चलता नहीं है. There are times when you will have to use passive. Maybe you're dealing with a client. Now, I don't agree with it, but he's a client after all. I'm going to get much more business from him. So I listen to what he has to say. So I become passive, but जानबूझ के passive. I want you to select your communication style. Maximum assertive. There are times you might use passive. Aggressive, I don't recommend at all. But if somebody is really taking a lot of advantage of your good behavior, you might end up being aggressive also. But not recommended. So what we say is, when you okay, these slides you go read on your own. The real meaning of the communication is the result that it produces. So result क्या रहता है? दो तीन चीज रहती है. The intention or the objective of your communication, that has to be achieved. Secondly, the relationship कैसा होता है? So at the end, I might get my way with my friend. But if I'm hurting her, I'm sabotaging my entire friendship with my friend. Is this what you want? Because that's the result it is going to produce. You're going to get your way, but the result is you're jeopardizing your relationship. So when you're choosing your communication style, think about the result that it is going to produce and then select the slide. Okay? Does that help you a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is just another thought given by Stephen Covey. He says that, every time we react to a stimulus, but it may cause problems. So somebody behaves in a particular way, I become aggressive. No, that's a reaction. Just think about it, respond, choose your response, and then you can see the magic happening. Okay. So I think that takes care of our session today. I do hope you got something valuable from this. I think, Niharika, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Since we are doing communication skills, I is there a way to discover more about communication through cultures? Because our culture usually affects the way we communicate. I have read about Hofstadter. Is there anything else that you can recommend that I could read to improve upon my knowledge?
Yeah, what Gert Hofstede and Edward Hall.
Yes, Hofstede and Kurt Hall. That's what I have already read. So anything else that I could add to my knowledge section?
They are actually, their focus is more on culture and differences where they are in culture.
Correct.
Communication wise, no, offhand, I can't remember any books or something. Let me get back to you on this.
Certainly, ma'am. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So everybody for being patient listeners, Sanjana, Smita and Sanjay, in case I have hurt your feelings because of the exercise, please do, I'm very sorry about it. I apologize.
Not at all. We
Ma'am,
enjoyed the
please
whole thing.
don't.
In fact,
We
it's so
look
good way
forward
of
to.
learning.
We
No
had
way in that case,
awesome
ma'am.
learning.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.
I'll see you
Thank
next
you so
week.
much, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Good
ma'am.
day to you. Thank you, ma'am. Good day to you.
Good day.